welcome to April 2025 edition of Macro and Market Update, where we discuss global macro developments, China, Europe's fiscal plan, US tariffs, rupee, monetary easing in India, Indian economic activity, and equity and fixed income outlook for India. Following Trump's victory, markets initially believed in US exceptionalism. However, as US policies became clearer, tariff and spending cut measures dampened consumer and business confidence. Trump's disregard for the economic cost shook investor confidence. While US growth wasn't in a dire state before policy uncertainty, the drag from tariffs and related issues is leading to downward revisions in growth projections, though a recession remains a low event in probability. Additionally, the US is creating challenges for Europe and China, prompting them to focus on domestic growth and self-reliance. China is implementing welfare initiatives, a rarity to China's policy making, and Germany is considering relaxing its debt brake rule. In contrast to the US anti-growth policies, both Europe and China are more willing to implement pro-growth fiscal stimulus. The US Fed paused rate cuts in March but reduced the pace of quantitative tightening and continue to guide for 2 cuts in 2025. Meanwhile, stronger growth opportunities lie outside the US, where markets are more attractively valued and have better momentum. Chinese equities have shown strong absolute and relative performance this year, outperforming global markets despite increased US tariffs on Chinese exports. The government's growth support measures have played a key role, but a shift in the narrative around China's technology sector, particularly AI, has been crucial. While challenges in the property sector persist, consumer indicators are stabilizing or slightly improving, aided by government support. Historically a tactical market, Chinese equities are gaining investor interest and could continue to attract attention in the near term. Europe has already taken steps to massively boost its defense spending, motivated by the short-term urgency to support Ukraine, but also to address the long-term need to take on more responsibility for Europe's security. The outperformance of European equities in 2025 has been driven largely by expectations of growth-stimulating fiscal expansion from Eurozone governments. The valuation gap between US and European equities has fallen sharply this year, following a persistent rise in the favor of the US from 2016 to 2024, and this could continue further. Thus far, US has imposed 25% import duties for all nations on aluminium and steel, and then on imported vehicles and auto components. At the time of recording, we are still awaiting 2nd April decision of reciprocal tariff. Indian trade officials have been working to hammer out deals which will protect farmers and agriculture and maybe give away a few things elsewhere. But overall, this tariff uncertainty has led to a reduction in global growth expectation. Till the time the uncertainty remains, it dents the business confidence and leads to a delay in corporate capex decisions. All in all, tariffs are turning out to be growth and equity market negative. Broadly, exuberance about deregulation and tax cuts have given way to the fear that Trump's trade policy could drive the economy into weakness, putting the S&P 500 on track for its biggest quarterly loss since the fall of 2022. But Indian Nifty surged in March after 5 consecutive monthly decline. Mid and small cap indices also joined the rally. Almost all sectors ended in green during the month except IT. FIIs bought $3 billion in Indian equity in March after continuous 24 billion sell between October to February. In FY25, gold rose an amazing 38%, its best performance since 2008. Tariffs and geopolitical uncertainty are keeping gold prices elevated. Valuations are becoming a risk for gold. The rupee, like the markets, has pulled back its losses in 2025. The March appreciation in rupee was relatively stronger than other Asian currencies and was driven by three factors. A. Fall in dollar index as world gets worried on US growth. Second, return of FII investment in India. And then third, return of Indian exporters to the markets and doing bank selling. For the financial year 2024-25, rupee has depreciated 3%, in line with its 3 to 5 year trend. We continue to have a depreciation bias on rupee and think that in FY26 too, it could see an additional 3% depreciation. When we come to India, the RBI's monetary easing is the key focal area. Rising household credit had made RBI uncomfortable, which had led RBI to tighten capital requirements on personal loans and lending to NBFCs through 2023 and 2024. Banks then reduced their lending to optimize their credit to deposit ratio even as they tried to raise more deposits. As a result, loan growth had slowed sharply in recent months, with personal and credit card loans particularly affected. Now, of course, the approach by RBI is changing. In the last 3 months, RBI is gradually relaxing the capital and other regulatory requirements. Liquidity infusion is massive. RBI has injected nearly 8 trillion liquidity in the system up until March. Yet, the banking system is still in a liquidity deficit because the dollar capital outflow between October to March has also been equally large. And then, this is seasonally the time when hard cash withdrawn from the banks by general public also picks up. Both these exogenous factors are liquidity negative. RBI will need to top up its liquidity support. All said, the worst on liquidity crunch may be behind us and the things should improve. Yet, any positive impact on credit and hence the economy could take few quarters. Indian economic activity is sluggish. Economic activity in India during Jan-Feb 2025 appears to be weak, despite some government spending and order inflows. The overall pace of activity is not significantly better than Q3 FY25. Full year growth for FY25 is expected to be sub 6.5%, down from 9.2% in FY24, with Q4 tracking around 6 to 6.5%, well below the anticipated 7% growth. Key indicators like bank credit growth, GST collection, energy demand, and freight activity all show moderate growth, though there are some sector-specific positives such as strong service sector exports and steel sector performance. One key argument for better growth in FY26 revolves around monetary easing, such as rate cuts, liquidity support, and regulatory adjustments, which is expected to boost credit-led growth. However, recent credit moderation, just as we discussed, had been primarily driven by decline in personal loan and lending to NBFCs, while easing credit condition may eventually support consumer loans. Personal loans are expected to be slow to revive. Positive factors like better agricultural income, personal income tax cut, and resumption in construction activities should support modest consumption revival, with credit growth being the strongest driver if it picks up. Business sentiment has significantly moderated as of December 2024, though it remains in an expansionary zone. The upcoming Q4 FY25 update will offer insights into how businesses are viewing domestic demand, and global uncertainty due to tariff threats. We will be waiting for that. Corporate capex is expected to grow at a slower pace in FY26, with government infrastructure projects plateauing and global risks from tariffs. Trade policy uncertainty may further weigh on trade and global growth. In conclusion, a strong demand boost to push India's growth above 7% is currently lacking, which could impact earning expectations as well. In the context of Indian equity market, both valuations and sentiments were elevated throughout much of last year. Valuations have now corrected from the excesses seen in 2024. As long as bond yields remain stable and inflation stays under control, the case for a correction in large cap stocks is less compelling. Currently, the sentiment euphoria has also ebbed, which is a positive development. From the equity market perspective, while there are still risks of earning downgrades, 2 out of 3 parameters which we monitor are in a much better position compared to 2024. As a result, our view has shifted from a bearish outlook in 2024 to a neutral stance on Indian equities now. We prefer large cap stocks for stability while focusing on selective stock picking in the mid and small cap space. From the fixed income perspective, if there is an OMO support, CPI is back to 4% level. Fiscal consolidation stays as the focus, and one is hopeful of liquidity conditions to get better. Then, despite the compressed spreads and rupee risks, it makes sense to stay positive on Indian rates. Given the spreads and an expectation on easing liquidity conditions through the year, we prefer corporate bonds across all segments. Signing off for this month. Thank you.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.